Okay, guys, I wanted to do a video today. Another work camping opportunity that I just finished. Just finished working for C's Candies in Huntsville, Alabama. It is one of the prerequisite work camping jobs, so I wanted to discuss my experience and what you'll experience, or what you should expect to experience if you work for C's Candies. So, a little bit of history. C's Candies is out of San Francisco, California, and they've been around since 1921. They have no C's Candy stores east of the Mississippi. So, at the holidays, meaning November and December, and some of the stores actually longer for Valentine's Day and even into Easter, they open up what they call pop up stores on the East Coast. I think there's about 90 locations, give or take. The majority of them are kiosks in malls. The one that I ran in Huntsville was an actual store that they took over an empty location in the mall there in Huntsville, Alabama. And I was what they called a team lead, or the store manager, they called a team lead, and I ran that store. I wanted that particular location for a couple of reasons. Most importantly, I wanted a storefront. I didn't want a kiosk. A kiosk I just think would be uncomfortable. You just would have no personal space whatsoever. Having a storefront, everyone's out in front of you. You can see everything well. I think theft is less of an issue. And the second reason was the majority of the people that were working for me were returning from previous years. So actually I only had to hire 3 new individuals. Now, when you accept the position for C's Candy, you will show up. They'll have a trainer there that they fly in that's going to help you set up your location. Also help you with any interviewing you might have to do. Again, I had to hire 3 people, so they set up interviews for me. They had resumes, everything waiting for me. I called and set up interviews and hired accordingly for that store. I ran into some issues. I don't think that necessarily issues that you would run into, so I don't think there's really any necessary reason to bring them up. The pay was really good by work camping standards. It's going to be different per location. We were in a nice mall, and the location was pretty good. Probably not the one that I would have picked necessarily, but it was a new location for that mall. That store had always been a kiosk, so people were still looking for us in the old location, obviously. So we got a lot of comments about us moving. For the most part, I had a good group of people that worked with me, for me. You have to wear a uniform. You're wearing a black slacks, a white dress shirt. They're going to provide, and black shoes, they're going to provide a bow tie and an apron, which you wear while you're working. The store manager is required to work 34 hours a week, but you can work 40. And then you have an assistant, a couple of key holders, and then the regular hourly employees. There's a decent amount of paperwork involved. You're making deposits at the bank, wherever the bank is. There was one in the mall, but of course, when I got there this year, they had moved out of the mall, so they were, 3 or 4 miles away. I typically chose to close the store because I'm not much of a morning person, so being the store manager, I could pretty much choose when I wanted to work, and then everyone else followed suit after that. I didn't take advantage of it because I didn't want to eat the candy, but you pretty much can eat as much candy as you want, and if you stay the whole time, you are given 2 pounds of candy of your choice at the end, as well as while I was running the store. If we had candy that expired, meaning we couldn't sell it to the public anymore, I did allow my employees to take a pound of that as well. I don't know that that's typical standard practice, but it's what I did because we were all doing a really good job. The way they set it up is that you are given enough candy so that hopefully you sell out at the end of the time that the store is there. For us, the store closed after or right at Christmas. We were supposed to close a couple days after Christmas, but we sold out of candy. We had nothing left. So they probably could have sent us a little more. They didn't, and we sold out Christmas Eve. So pretty much worked like they wanted to, just a couple days early. But that's how they design it. That store that I ran is going to reopen for Valentine's Day, but my assistant's going to run it. I Had no desire to go back. I will not work for Seas Candy again. It's not something that it was not that it was hard, it's just not something I enjoyed. And so I don't have to really do anything I don't like or enjoy doing anymore. But that doesn't mean you wouldn't enjoy it or you wouldn't like it. They don't provide a spot for your RV. They basically, the way it works is when you get to your location, there'll be a check waiting for you. They did up the amount this year. They pay $550 for your RV spot and $250 for gas. Now, I've never been given money for gas at any of the jobs I've ever done, so I basically considered that money for the RV spot. So $800 for the RV spot. And the park that I stayed in, which I enjoyed, the Huntsville Space and Rocket Center RV Park, right there with the Huntsville Space and Rocket Center. So I mean, the space shuttle was right outside my door, basically. Was $480 a month. Super nice people that run that park, and they were very happy to work with Seas Candy. People from Seas have been staying there for a long time, so I would highly suggest staying there. And you're like 6 miles to the store, and it's a straight shot down the road, so really easy to get to work and home from work. Not a lot of traffic issues or anything like that. It's a quiet park and not real big, but they've got, and they only have 30 amp service. So if you're 50 amp, keep that in mind. Let's see, I told you about the store. Again, the pay varies per location. I was at $16.50 an hour for as the team lead, and then it goes down from there, whether you want to be the assistant or a key holder. I think the key holders make $10.50 at my location, and I think the assistant made $14. Something like that. But again, it varies by location, so these numbers may not be the same for you. I think that's really about it. My store opened November 1st. I had to be there by the 22nd or 23rd to get it all set up, because they ship everything in, and you have to get the store set up. If it's a kiosk, you'd have to set the kiosk up. And of course, the hard thing about the kiosk is you can't bring anything out until the night before you start. So you have to get everything set up in the back room and whatever storage room they have for you. My store had storage in the back, so I didn't have to have a separate storage room, which was super nice. I don't know, it just wasn't the easiest company for me to work for, because I think they've been around a long time, so they're doing something right, but there was a lot of things that they did that I thought was strange, and they were having a lot of trouble at other locations, which, verified things that I had felt about things that they did and how they did things. But again, I don't want my biases to affect anyone. So like I said, there's a few things I'm not talking about, because I don't necessarily think they would apply to you. You have to do what's best for you. And I would highly recommend anyone, try anything at least once. That's what this life's all about, different experiences. And, it's not that I had a super bad experience or anything. It's just something I know I wouldn't want to do again. So I try to, when I do a review, try to give everything the benefit of the doubt, and don't bring necessarily personal things that happen to me into the review. The locations they can give you are all over. I think they offered me 9 different states, all the way from South Dakota down to Florida. So there's lots of different locations. Generally, they usually like couples, because a couple will come in and run the store. But I was able to do it as a single. If you have any other questions or comments, leave them with the video, and I'll try to answer them as best I can. I think I pretty much covered everything: the RV park, the pay, the uniform. Like I said, the time frame is going to be different. Some stores, this store last year as a kiosk, or previous years, would stay open all the way. They wouldn't close. It'd stay all the way open until Easter, but this year they did things a little different. So like I say, things do change. So this information may not be the same as what they do next year. I guess that's about it. It might be something you want to do. Like I said, I've done Seas, I've done Amazon, I work for Airmark Spring Training, campgrounds, theme parks. So I'm doing a lot of different stuff, and I try to bring this information to you guys. I hope it's helpful. And anyway, the most important thing is get out there and see as much as you can, because travel's where it's at. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a great new year, and I'll talk to you again soon.